Hello, everybody. Hello. Super glad to see y'all here. Thank you for taking the time to join my stream. This is the introduction to Python stream. We're going to be doing a 2-hour technical stream where we're going to go over the basics of Python, and also we're going to talk about some fun games that we can make with Python, and we're going to make those games live. So super excited to see y'all joining in. Hello, Steph, tuning in from New York. Wonderful. I don't know what time it is in New York. Let me check. Hopefully it's not too late. 10 p.m. Okay, that's like getting a little bit late. It's gonna end at midnight. So just a heads up. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. That's fun though. I love New York. I've been a couple of times and it's been very fun. So I want y'all to also go ahead and check in at that check-in link. It's super useful for us to see how many people are joining the stream, and also to make sure that y'all get your points in. When you come to these events, you get points, and it's really important that you get those points because you're spending all this time at the event, and it's important that you get your points for that. Yeah, totally valid, no worries. Glad you're looking forward to it, but yeah, totally get it if you don't want to stay till the end. It is a pretty long stream, and it does go till midnight for you. So if that ends up being the case, but you're interested and you want to see some more, feel free to watch the stream afterwards. It will be on YouTube in the live section. You just go to the MLH channel, click on the live section, and it'll probably be the first one there, depending on what time you're looking at it. So here is the check-in link again. I put that in chat for y'all just to make sure that you can get on that. We're gonna get started in just a little bit. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to come in. I see some people joining now. So super excited for y'all to start this lecture. I'm not really sure like what the experience level is for those of y'all that are joining. You might be like a little bit in the middle, and maybe you're more experienced. So while we're waiting for a couple more people to trickle in, drop in the chat like how experienced you are with Python. I'm curious to see what the layout is. So like we can do like 1 to 5, and drop in chat what you think you are. If it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where 1 is like beginner, you're just learning, and then we can do 2 is more, 5 is more like you know what you're doing, like you've got it down pat. You just wanted to cover the basics again and see if you're missing something that you want to learn. So if y'all want to, feel free to drop in the chat what level of Python development, Python coding you're in. But super glad to have all of you here. So, Steph. Wait, you gotta tell me, is it like Steve, like EE, or Steph, just like E? Don't want to mispronounce it, but Python 1 out of 5. I know JavaScript and some Java. Okay, good. Honestly, if you're good in Java and JavaScript, you're gonna be like pretty good at Python. In my opinion, I think Python's a little easier just because it's a little bit more intuitive. You don't have to write all these complicated things that you do with Java and JavaScript. It's a little bit easier. Oh, Stephanie. Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Good to know. So for those of you just joining us now, make sure you check in at that check-in link. I'm going to get started, but I'm going to give y'all a quick overview of what we are going to be doing today. So we're going to be covering Python syntax and structure, variables and data types, loops and conditional logic, and functions. And then we're also going to be building some fun games. I've got a lot of different like games / projects that we can make. So depending on how much time we have left and how much material we're able to get through, maybe we'll be able to get through all of them. But regardless, even if we're only able to get through 1 or 2 of these games, they are really fun games. So all of them are going to be great. But super excited for that. Feel free to keep those numbers with your experience levels coming in, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. I see a comment. Jenny Headley, new to Python, have basic experience with JavaScript. Okay, I've seen a lot of experience with Java and JavaScript. That is super cool. Glad to see that y'all are expanding your languages. New to Python is great. Love to hear that because that means we're going to teach you some really cool stuff today. And I'm excited for that. Great to meet you. So this is like my introduction slide. So hi, if you haven't seen one of my streams, I'm Darshini. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking, and a very fun fact about me is that I've moved 13 times throughout my life. So let me know if y'all have moved around a lot, or if you resonate or just moved around a couple of times. I feel like 13 is a pretty high number, and 13 is my lucky number, so it works out. I'm gonna take the check-in slide, check-in like banner down now, but if y'all need it, let me know and I can send it again. So I kind of okay, this is like a kind of a weird slide to start on, but I wanted to do a fun theme because I was getting kind of tired of my PowerPoint presentations. And I really like greens. I searched up green forest themes. So you're just gonna see like a monkey in the middle. I'm sorry about that. I tried to use it as the least amount of times as possible, but I just thought it would be funny. So sorry if that is not funny, but if for those of y'all that are kind of just like wishy-washy about whether or not you want to learn Python and whether or not the session's worth it to you, let me explain really quick why I think Python is a really great language to learn and why I think you're going to gain a lot of value from this. So Python is basically everywhere. I genuinely mean that. It is in so many different things. We use it in web development, we use it in data science, like AI, machine learning, and a lot of different games and a lot of different other things that we use in our daily life. So it's really important to learn Python because I think that it's used very widely and it's good to have that knowledge. Also, Python's very simple. It reads like plain English, and that's very different compared to other languages. Like if you were at my intro to Java session, you would know like Java is a little confusing. It's got a lot of very niche syntax, like adding semicolons to every sentence, and which you don't do in English. So Python's a little bit easier. Hello, Christopher. I know Python. I'm just here for the equal. Okay. Well, thank you for joining. Hopefully the games will be fun to you, even though you know Python. And maybe since you already know Python, you can add some fun features to the games that I'm not talking about. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, so there's a wide variety of reasons why you would want to learn Python. Some of you were saying that you know a couple of languages and you're interested in learning some more. So I love to hear that. But there's also some other reasons. So if I fully haven't convinced you yet to jump on the Python train, hopefully this session will help. But just know that it's used really widely in a lot of different things, and it'll definitely be useful for you in the future. Hi, I'm seeing a lot of people join in all of a sudden. Hello, here is the check-in link. If you need it, let me know. I'm going to take it out in like a couple of seconds, but we just got started. I can go back to my intro slides. I saw a lot of people. Hi, I'm Varshini. But we're going to get started. I was just talking about why we should learn Python. But I'm going to take that check-in link down. Let me know if anybody still needs it, and I'd be happy to put it back up. But we're going to move on. So I kind of just wanted to talk about how programming works in general. So most of y'all, it sounds like, have already learned a language. This is maybe your second or third, or you're just dipping your toes into another language. So you probably already know how programming works, but just a quick primer in case there's anyone where this is your first language. You can kind of think of programming as writing a recipe for your computer. You give it a list of steps, it's going to follow them exactly. And your computer's not generating anything by itself. It's not artificial intelligence. It's just following your instructions. So a common way that a lot of people will teach computer science, and programming in general, is they have it and algorithms in general, is they'll tell you to imagine that a robot is asking you for an algorithm to make like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And the robot's asking you like, okay, like you have to give me specific instructions. And this is like a really funny exercise because like people will say like, oh, get the peanut butter out and like put it in, and like they'll think they're saying something very specific, but obviously the robot will get confused because it follows instructions to a T. So like if the user says like, oh, put some jam on the bread, the like robot will over exaggerate, take like a gigantic chunk out of the jam jar and like put it on the bread. So I was gonna get like peanut butter and jelly to like do that live, but then I realized I don't have peanut butter and jelly in my house, so that's not happening anymore, but that's still a fun analogy to think about. And if any of y'all are still curious about that, there are like tons and tons of videos online about that. So definitely check that out if you're still curious. But that's basically just how programming works. We give the computer instructions and it carries them out. That's basically it, just in case you were a little confused about how we're able to get the computer to understand what we want. Next slide. So right now we're going to install Python and we're going to run our code in VS Code. So I know that a lot of people will use different code editors. Sometimes people use like Replit or PyCharm. I'm going to suggest we use VS Code just because it's a universalizable. Okay, I'm not getting that. It is something that you can make universal. What is that emoji? Is that a dragon? Oh, I think that's a dinosaur. Wait. Hopefully that's a good emoji. I love Virtual Studio Code. Hopefully, I think I'm like converting people on my streams because I keep saying download VS Code and now it's on their computer and they have to use it. So, but we're going to use Python and VS Code for this stream. You can follow along with another code editor. Like there's nothing uniquely in VS Code that we're going to need for this stream. I just recommend that you download VS Code because it's a really great tool for developers. And eventually you'll start needing some extensions like Live Server, and VS Code has those handy. So definitely a good resource to get downloaded ahead in advance. So usually what I do for my streams is I make like a little Google document that people can use with some instructions and some text that I'm not putting on a slide or on VS Code. So there is our daily Google document of the stream. Yeah, that's our Google Doc. Actually, maybe I'll put it into a URL shortener. I feel bad, like I'm typing in this like really long URL every single time, and every time like someone asks for it again, I send this like horrifyingly long. Yeah, okay, we're gonna use tinyURL. I take that back. So, I mean, that's the same URL, so feel free to go to the old one if it's easier for you, but there's the tinyURL. I know MLH has like a link shortener, but I don't have the login for that because I'm logged into a guest. So we're gonna be using tinyURL. Christopher. Okay, so it's not just Christopher, it's like Hauer. So let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But VS Code also has a lot of debuggers for every language, which is good for intro coders, also gives reason. Yeah, exactly. So when I ask y'all to download VS Code, I'll also ask you to download a couple of extensions for different coding languages. For this one specifically, obviously Python. And yeah, it does have debugging and it helps intro coders, like beginner coders, debug their code a little bit better because it's explaining things to you. Like we were in the Java session a couple of hours earlier, maybe 9 hours earlier, and telling us what these variables were, which is not usually what it would do, but because we had that extension within VS Code, it was telling us. So that's super useful. And yeah, it does give different reasonings for errors and fixes. So thank you for that. But hopefully y'all are on that document. If you're not able to get to that, no worries. I will also screen share the document from time to time. I just strongly recommend you have it open as well because sometimes I won't be able to switch over to the document while I'm talking about something. So yeah, make sure you get on this. I also made this document just because like I wasted so much time, not wasted, I used so much of my time in the earlier Java stream explaining how to download VS Code and Python and Java extensions to people that were coming in a little bit later. So I don't want to do that this time because I was rushed a little bit at the end of the stream last time. So I've got a doc, so if anyone else new comes in and they start asking for it, this is the URL that we're going to send them to. So I'm going to explain it to you. So if you want, feel free to like jump the gun and just start going ahead and installing Python and VS Code on your computer if it's not already there. But I'm also going to walk through it with y'all like step by step just to help engage y'all and keep you engaged. So before we write any code, we're going to make sure and see if Python is already installed in your computer. Python might have been like sneakily installed when you were installing something else. If you've gone to a lot of hackathons, sometimes when you download a package, that package includes Python, and you just might not know it if you don't use it. So what we're going to do is we're either going to open a terminal if you're a Mac user, or command prompt if you're a Windows user. And just like is written here, you're going to use this command if you are a Mac user, and if you're a Windows user, you're going to use this command. So run this in your terminal if you're Mac, and run this in command prompt if you're Windows. If you're unsure about how to find that, just go to your like startup menu, apps menu, and search up for either command prompt or terminal, and you'll find it there. So type that in, and you should see something that says like Python. Actually, let me add that in. If it works, you should see something like you see something like 5.3.12. It might be like a little bit off in terms of version addition, but as long as you're at that 3, you're good to go. So let me know if that's not happening. Okay, I see a comment. I get the error bash Python comment not found. Yeah, so that means that Python is not installed in your computer. So if you're getting any error like that, you haven't installed Python yet. So no worries, completely got you, Jenny. We're going to go over how to download Python on your computer as well. So if Python, perfect segue, if Python is not installed in your computer, scroll up to this upper part of the document, Python installation guide for either Windows or Mac. So I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to go through the Mac first, and then I'll go through Windows. So here's Mac. And according to the instructions, we're going to download the Mac OS 64-bit Universal 2 installer. So that's this one. Make sure you go to the stable releases. If you want, you can try out the pre-release, but sometimes they're like unstable, hence the stable section. So would recommend the stable release and also the most recent version. So you're just going to click, I'm not going to click download because I've already got that, but feel free to click that download button, and then you're going to run the installer. So you'll basically just see a file get downloaded, and it's going to be a .pkg or a package file. It's going to get downloaded, and in your downloads folder, double click it to run that installer, and then it'll just give you a couple of instructions. Just follow those instructions. It's pretty self-explanatory. It'll tell you like you need to sign this, you need to agree to this, and then we're going to download this. It'll be super easy. Pretty similar for Windows. We're just going to go to this link instead, and we're just going to, so it redirected to Mac OS. That's deeply unfortunate. Let me fix that. Okay, I should have seen that coming. But here's the Windows one, and for Windows, we're going to download the this stable release. So I think that should just straight. That doesn't download anything. I think there's differences in between the packages. Not really sure what it is. Maybe I don't have a Windows. Download the 64-bit. If it doesn't work, download the 32-bit. Maybe that will work. I'm not sure. But you'll see the .exe file downloaded, and then something super important for Windows users that you won't have for Mac users. Make sure if you're a Windows user and you're downloading it, on the first screen after you've run the installer, there's going to be a box, and it's going to say add Python to path. So it's this instruction, and you need to check that box because you want to add Python to path. If you don't do this, then you're not going to be able to use Python in your VS Code. So make sure you do that, and then you can just click install now. A little bit more complicated for our Windows users over here. I had that error and still had it installed. I had to add an environmental path for it to find Python. I'm assuming you're a Windows user. You might be Python, or sorry, you might be Apple, but yes, you sometimes might have to, what is it called? Sorry, you might have to do what I was saying earlier with the Windows. You have to add it to the path. And if you don't do that, if you're a Windows user, then it won't show up. So hopefully that was the issue. If you're a Mac user, we can troubleshoot that too. Valor Hart, hello. I'm not sure what you need to know. I don't see any other previous comments from you. Please give me some more information about what um, you need help with. May I know how you did that? Indeed. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so Mac users, you should not be running into that problem. If it downloads, it's good to go. But yeah, you also had Linux enabled, it was running through Linux. Yeah, that's really very, very difficult. So that makes sense that you were having some issues, but glad you figured it out. Yeah, Jenny, hopefully let me know if you've got a Mac or Windows and we can troubleshoot more from there. But if it's a Windows, just make sure that you're downloading Python and adding Python with the path. And if it's Mac, hopefully that error is gone once you download Python. But if it's still there, I can help. I'm a Mac user and having issues. Okay, so I think you sent this original comment before I said to download Python. So have you downloaded Python? And if so, have you like run the installer? Has it like run to completion? Is it like Python is now downloaded? Okay, I'm seeing a yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Could you close your terminal and then reopen it? I know that sounds like very redundant, but sometimes it's just like it needs to run. I've run and Python 3.13 is in my apps. Does this mean that it works for you, or are you just saying like it's in your applications? Please elaborate. Not on my actual system tech issues. Will I have to download VS Code on my temp system, or can I use? Yeah, you can use Google Collab. Oh my gosh, no worries at all. Hopefully your tech issues get figured out. I know that can be a little difficult sometimes, but no, you don't have to download VS Code on your temp system. Google Collab works perfectly fine. Like I was saying, we're not using anything specific in VS Code for this session. I just always like to recommend that we download VS Code, but not needed at all. So yeah, feel free to use Google Collab. It's in my apps, but not in my terminal. Did you try closing your terminal, reopening it, and then running the Python 3? Oh, wait. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. So it's not working because you're a Mac user and it's Python 3. So I wrote it down here. So Python doesn't work. If it doesn't work, you have a Mac, probably try Python 3. Please try Python 3 and let me know if that helps you. The error in terminal, they're closing and reopening. Yeah, the command's not found because it's Python 3. So try Python 3 and let me know how that works. You mentioned live servers, so I thought, oh yeah, sorry. What I was saying was, like I've run a lot of streams this Global Hack Week. I was doing like intro to web development earlier, so we were doing we were using live servers in that stream, which is why I mentioned live servers, but we're not using live servers in this stream. So feel free to use Google Colab, PyCharm, whatever it is that you have natively. And that goes for the rest of y'all too. Don't feel like you have to download VS Code. You will need Python, but don't feel like you have to download VS Code if you don't want to. Yay! Okay, perfect. Yes. So big side note for those of y'all that have Macs, you need to do Python 3 to make sure that it works. Okay, glad to hear that it works. Glad to hear that we figured that out. So now we're going to download VS Code. So here's our VS Code tab. VS Code's actually super cool. It auto detects what system you're running on, and it pulls up that download button. So I don't need to give you separate links. It's already done it for you. And now you can see I was not lying about being a Mac user because VS Code detected that. So on Windows, just follow the setup wizard to keep all the default settings. Doesn't really matter. On Mac, it's going to ask you when you try to download it, like, do you want to like move this app, drag the app into your applications folder. So then that way its paths are set up right. For Mac, once you've dragged that app into the applications folder, open VS Code. So once both of y'all, Mac and Windows users, have downloaded the app, we're going to open up VS Code and we're going to add an extension. So let me show y'all how to do that. I can just show you instead of going through the instructions again. Oh yeah, also for those of y'all that are joining streams, or my streams at least for the first time, sorry, sometimes you might just see like my big head pulled up on the front of the screen, and that's just because I'm switching between tabs, so bear with me while I'm switching. But here we're gonna go into VS Code, we're gonna click on the extensions icon. It looks like these 4 squares, so it's gonna be the 5th icon, it's this one, and we're going to search up the Python extension. So this way we can add some more features in that I have it searched up. And you're gonna wanna download Python from Microsoft. It's got like a bunch of downloads. Make sure it's this one because sometimes like scammers will try to get you, but you should be good. And that's it for what we are downloading today. There's really not like much to it. We're just downloading some basic stuff. But feel free to ask me any questions if you have any. I was trying to make the instructions doc one page and it looks like it just changed for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Oh, I think it's because I highlighted it. Damn. Okay, you know what? I don't really care. I'm not wasting time on that. That's fine. Okay, I see some comments. VS Code Python extension download subs and No, it doesn't. This is just for language support, like access points, but you still need to independently install Python. So you can see here, like in the quick start, you first have to install a supported version of Python, and then you can install the extension. You're gonna have to, like, this is the same for all programming languages, I'm pretty sure. You have to install the actual language before you go and add the extension in. So good catch though. So now we're gonna move on. Hopefully everyone's good with the installation instructions. Just let me know if something was confusing and you need help. But we're gonna move on. Going back to the slides. So now we're gonna move on to our first program, which is Hello World. So if y'all have any programming experience, you know that usually when you're learning a new language, your first program will be like Hello World. It's just a fun thing. So we're gonna do the exact same thing in Python. If you were at my Java stream, you definitely think that the Hello World is very complicated, but not in Python, I'm telling you. So easy in Python. So it's literally just, also before I start, during my streams, I alternate like in these intro to something streams and where I'm teaching, I usually do a kind of learning model where I will talk about a topic. So like on this, if I'm on the slides, I'm going to be talking about the topic. And then when I switch to VS Code, I'm coding. And I really want y'all to code along with me because we're all learning something new. And when we're learning something new, I find that it's really, really helpful to code along with me so that like over time, when you type it and think about it over and over again, you'll be able to grasp that skill quicker than if you're just watching me and seeing me do it. So please follow along. Every time I switch to VS Code, I want to see you switch to VS Code too and code along with me. Hi, Warlock. We are going to be learning Python today. So we're going to be covering like data types, loops, how to write different things in Python, and then we're going to finish off by making a couple of complex logic games that will demonstrate your skills in Python. So this will give you a strong jump start on your project or on your Python development skills. Hopefully that helps. So to print hello world, we're literally just going to do print hello world. It is very, very basic, no semicolon needed, and you just run it and boom, it says hello world. So if y'all haven't used VS Code before, you've got a little triangle icon here. It looks like a play symbol. You just click that and you can run Python file, or you can also just go to the upper left hand like sidebar, click run, and then it'll have the option to run your code. That's it. It's literally like I told you, English language. You want to print hello world, it prints hello world for you. So very, very intuitive. Yes, cutie, we are working on mini projects today. We're going to be working on a surprise mini project. I am not telling you what it is until the end because I think it's super fun and very interactive and hopefully gets y'all like engaged and laughing. It's going to be fun, promise. So stay very tuned. It's going to be very exciting. Hello, Chantel. Ooh, fancy name. How do I open a new window to code in? Oh, yes, sorry. Thank you for reminding me about that. So you're going to open up file. You're going to have a new open folder, or you can just go straight to new file. If you're doing open folder, like it's good for organization purposes. You can like have a folder where you're storing all of your code, and then you're going to do new file. So you're going to click new file, and you're going to type in whatever file name you want to do. I just did hello, so it's like an intro session. Do whatever file name. Just make sure at the end of your file name you do .py. If you don't do .py, then your Python file won't run properly. So yeah. Hopefully that helps. I want to see a thumbs up or an emoji or I did it in the chat if you got your hello worlds working, because that's a super big accomplishment. You did hello world in a new programming language, and any programmer, any computer scientist around the world will know what that means. If you're like, oh, I did a hello world in Python today, they're going to be like, oh, they're learning a new language. That's super cool. So send me thumbs up, emojis, smiley faces, whatever you want in the chat to show me that you got it working. Ooh, thank you, Jenny. I don't know what that is. It looks like a purple hand doing this, but that's a great emoji. Thank you. If anybody else sends me emojis, I'd be very grateful just so that I know that it's working for y'all. I like have no way of seeing y'all, so emojis and text are the only way we can communicate. But if you're having any issues, just let me know and I can help. But yes, cutie, you are correct. Way easier than Java. Glad to see that you got it working. When I pressed the play button, it didn't work. I had to put python-u file name. How? Okay, that sounds like an unfinished question. I'm not sure. How do I get VS Code to put Python 3 instead of Python? You shouldn't be putting Python 3 anywhere. Wait, hold on. There's, oh, here. Let me see if I can open that somewhere. User local pin. Oh, wait. Stephanie, are you a Mac user? Yay, 789. Oh, I thought it was 789. Thank you for the emoji. Glad to see it's working. Okay. You're a Mac user when I press the play button. Okay, wait. So when you were in the terminal, and you did Python Python 3 version, so this command, oh, I got an error. Yeah, okay. So that's because you use Python. So since you're a Mac user, you're going to want to use that command that I just sent you. That's your Python 3 command. Python 3 is for Mac users. So close your terminal, open it back up again, and then do Python 3 version, and it should show up with a version, and then hopefully it works. Keep me updated. But hopefully it's working for the rest of y'all. I love to debug live, so let me know if something is going wrong. But now that y'all have done the hello world, don't worry, Stephanie, I'll wait for your response, but I'm going to move back to the screen. Now that you've done your hello world, let's make a little like 3-line short story. So I'm gonna do like, hi, and I'll put my name. And I want to hear like the most ludicrous short story that you can think of, and I want you to paste it in the chat once you've got it. And I'm gonna say like, Python is fun. My short story is very boring. It's designed so that you can top my short stories. So I want to see some crazy stories. And just like that, we've got it printed to the console. So I want you all to make a funny joke or put something fun in the chat with your output. VS Code automatically sent the Python command instead of Python 3. How would I change that configuration? Okay. So let's take a step back. Like, don't worry about VS Code right now. I just want you to close the terminal, open up the terminal, and then put this command in and tell me what it's giving you. Because if it's giving you an error, then there's something else. But if it's giving you the Python version, then we know that you got it downloaded, and then we've got to troubleshoot something else. So keep me updated. I'll wait for those stories from y'all. Anything is, you guys do Hello World like 3 times in a row. You're like a funny story, a joke. I like a quote of that you love, your own quotes. If you need an example, mine was, hi, my name is Varshini, Python is fun, and snakes are super cool. Anyone want to top that? Okay, so it is working. Could you close VS Code and open it back up again? I know, I'm sorry, I keep repeating that for feedback, but I think it's just because once you've downloaded it, your computer's not recognizing it because you just recently downloaded it. So if you could close VS Code and open it back up again, that would be great. Thank you. Ooh, I never said that Jupyter was better than VS Code. I just think VS Code is a great dev environment that you should use for most dev. It's also really useful for these type of streaming situations where like I don't know somebody's computer requirements, but VS Code is always like a good basis to fall back on. And also I feel like I code a lot of my projects in VS Code. I feel like it's very useful. I haven't really tried other coding environments, but maybe Jupyter's better. Not sure. No, it's not awful. I dreamt I was a carrot. The grating was harsh. I was thrown into a blender and no, that's not horrible. I think that's super funny. I like that story. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing. I'm not really sure where you got this like carrot from. Like I really like carrots, but I've never really like dreamt I was a carrot. But it's glad to see that I'm glad to see that that is something that people are thinking of. Thank you for that story. So that was just a quick little introduction into Python and your first program. So we're going to talk about comments and readability now. Again, sorry for that like gorilla looking thing. I think I told you that I didn't do it that much, but I think I copied it way too many times. But anyways, on to comments and readability. It's really important as a programmer to have comments and readability. As your programs like increase in size, you'll need to explain your code, and that's where comments come in, and that's why we have comments. So in Java, oh my god, sorry, I'm like still on my Java stream. In Python, the notation for noting a comment is a hashtag, and anything after that hashtag will be ignored. So it's only for the person that's using that code file or is getting that code file. So you can write whatever you want for comments. So like, let's go try to add a comment to mine. So here I'm gonna put in a little comment above and I'll do like, this is my 3-line story. So feel free to add whatever comments that you want. I just want y'all to get experience in writing those comments. If you want, you can write those comments and add them in the chat if there's something funny, but feel free to just write it and leave it. But yeah, that's a quick and easy way that we can do comments. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's really simple in Python. And now we're going to talk about variables. So variables, you can kind of think of them as objects or boxes or just things that store stuff. So you typically will put information into a variable, and this information can come in lots of different forms. So for example, back to our um, code. So let's say we're going to set a name variable. I'm going to put my name. Feel free to put your own name. And I'm not going to put my actual age because I'm not doxing myself. You know I'm not 98. And then I'm going to print. So I'm going to say my name is, and I'm going to put a colon. I'm going to add a space, and then I'm going to do comma name. So in Python, the notation for adding something like a variable to an existing string or an existing other type of variable / data object structure is just a comma. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with my age, my big age, because that's not my age, is, and then I'm going to do comma age. So we'll print that. And boom, it's still printing my earlier stuff. So let me, for 1 second. I'm checking, oh yeah, 3 single line quotes. So if you want to do a multi-line comment, so this is just a single line comment. So if I start typing here, it's not going to count that as a comment anymore. But if you want to do a multi-line comment, you're going to use your single quote and you're going to go 1, 2, you're going to do 3 of them. Dog. And you're going to do that on the top, and then you're going to do that on the bottom. And anything you write in between here, no matter how many lines it is, will be a comment. I think. Yeah, it'll be a comment. So your single line comments will be green and your multi-line comments will be orange. Might be different depending on what type of mode you're in, but that's also how you do the multi-line comments, just in case you want to add those in as well. So the reason why I showed you that is because I'm actually going to comment out this section just because I'm going to separate it into sections by doing this. Otherwise, this file is going to get completely untenable and my output is just going to be all over the place. So there you go. And now my output is just my name is and my fake age is. So feel free to customize that as you wish. Stephanie, I haven't heard from you in a while, hoping your issue has been fixed. Let me know if it hasn't and we can get back to troubleshooting that. But yeah, that's basically what variables are. Very, very simple. You'll notice that unlike other languages, Python is a weakly typed language, meaning that you don't have to specify the data type before you use a variable. So you don't have to put like string name, int age, just writing the variable and the value that you want to assign to it is enough. So yeah, you can also name this variable whatever you want and like reuse it later, like you see us reusing it here. And we can also try like multiple variables within one statement. So again, I'm gonna comment it out just to separate our sections. And this time I'm going to do like movie, and you'll see where this is going. I'll do like Spider-Man number, and I'll set that to 13. So I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to say I love, and I'm going to do comma movie, hence Spider-Man. I'm going to do and my lucky number is, and then I'll put that number in. So I mentioned earlier that 13 was my lucky number and I was not lying. So there you go. And you'll notice also that in Java, you had to like add in this extra space to make sure that there was no gap. But Python's just such a smart language and it does that automatically. So this is perfectly spaced out when you add that variable in. So you can add a lot of different things and get your input out very easily. I'm looking up how to change the default interpreter in VS Code. I'll let you know if it works. Okay. Also, if VS Code's not working, like somebody else on the stream was saying, feel free to use Google Colab, PyCharm, um, any other editor, Replit. You really don't need VS Code for this stream. I just think it's a good tool to have. So I'm trying to push all my stream watchers to download VS Code so that in future streams, if you do need VS Code for extensions like live server, then you'll already have it ready to go and you won't have to be stressed trying to download it later. But feel free to use another IDE if needed. So that's just a quick intro into variables in Python. So now we're going to move on to data types. So each variable has a data type. And the four most common in Python are going to be string, integer, decimal, and Boolean. So the way you refer to these variables within Python, we're going to do str for string, int for integer, float for decimal, and bool for Boolean. So something interesting is instead of just writing the word Boolean, they use bool, which I think is interesting because like at that point, why not just do Boolean? But that's okay. So we're gonna do like a quick little, again, example of what this data type looks like. So let me show you that. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to like switch back. It's like throwing errors at me. It's kind of mad. Okay, we are good now. Let me show y'all my code again. So we're going to, I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing. I'm going to comment it out. There's definitely better ways to organize this, but just like for the sake of time and covering all this content, I'm just going to put these single quotes in, single quotes in to do that multi-line comment that I was talking about. So we're going to use those specific data types. Let me show you. See a comment. Can you show us how to do in Vim maybe or terminal then execute? Yeah, I can. Is there a specific reason that you're asking for that? Like, is the run button not working for you? Let me know if there's like something going wrong for you, and I'm happy to troubleshoot that for you. But to show y'all examples of that, of these different data types. So Python has a function where you can do type and you can put in a object. So we're going to ask Python, like, tell me what the type is of all these different objects. And it'll tell you what the type is, and it's going to be exactly what we've just been talking about. And I always use like 3.14 pi for my decimal just because that's like probably the most well-known decimal. So we're going to print all of those and you'll see, oh, sorry, I forgot to type here. And then again, oops. You'll see now it's telling you the class of these variables, class string, class int, class float, and class bool. So it'll tell you the type of these variables. You definitely know what it is, but just in case. I never tried, so curious. Yes, of course. I'm gonna push that towards the end just because I want to get through our content. We spend a lot of time on the installation and I'm running into the same issue that I ran into with Java earlier. But yes, I will keep your comment in mind, and if we have time at the end, I will definitely show you how to do that. This course is going to be 2 hours. We're almost hitting hour 1, so this is going to be running until 11 p.m. CT. Not sure what time zone you're in, but if you just do 11 p.m. CT to like EST, IST on Google, it'll tell you what time that is in your time zone. But just an hour and 12 minutes from now, and we will be done. So it'll tell us what the data type is if you just put in your object. That's helpful if you don't know what like that type what that name was and you just want to get that back again. So we can also print the types of like specific variables too. So if you're like calling variables, so let's say your name is Bob and your age is 30 and your height is like 6.7 because that exists. And whether or not you're a student, that's going to be false because Bob is 30. Bob is probably not a student. One more thing. When you're typing in Python, you're going to want to have capital F and capital T for your true and false. Not sure if you noticed that, but that is necessary. Otherwise, it'll throw an error. So now we're going to print the exact same thing that we did before, but now instead of putting the object directly in, or like the raw object, now we're putting our variables in. So just to show you that it can work both ways. And boom. Now it prints it out all within one line and it tells you exactly what that is: string, int, float, bool. So that's perfect. That's just a little short intro into data types. There's a lot more data types within Python, but these are the main ones that you'll need for like introductory Python. This is just gonna be for today. If you're confused because my other series ran for a couple of days, this one's just not a tech track. This is just a one-off stream. So it's just going to be for today, and it's going to be for 2 hours. And after that, we're not going to cover Intro to Python for the rest of this Global Hack Week. Maybe at future Global Hack Weeks, but not for this one. So yeah, this is super useful when you're debugging your code. Maybe your code isn't working, it's throwing an error, a loop isn't working. So being able to understand the type of your code is very useful for that. So that was variables. And now we're going to be talking about, we already talked about data types. I think I forgot that slide. But we're going to be working with strings now. And I know I talked about data types and I included strings, but strings specifically have a couple of methods that I wanted to talk about and include in this presentation to make sure that y'all were aware of that because it's really cool. So strings are basically text. It's just a fancy way of saying text, and they have these like really cool things that we call methods, and they're ways that we can access different features about strings. So we're going to go back to our file, and let's say we're going to do like a word, and we're going to call this word Python, hence the theme of this stream. And we're going to use methods. So we're going to call that object that we created. We're going to do word and we're going to do dot. So dot notation is how you call methods on an object. And here we're going to use the upper method. So what this does is it's going to convert everything from this word object into an uppercase letter. So it's going to be Python, but all uppercase, like you're screaming Python at somebody. And then we're going to use the capitalized method, again, on that word object. And the capitalized method just capitalizes the first letter of the word. So instead of the whole word, it's just going to be like Python with a capital P. And then we can also use len to get the length of the word. So I know you're probably wondering why here we use dot notation and here we just use len. That's because len is like a specific type of function. These are methods and this is a function. So that's kind of the inherent difference. Functions are called differently than methods in Python. So that's why it looks a little bit different if you were curious. So we're going to print that. I'm curious to see if y'all understand what these methods do. So put in the chat what you think this is going to return. I'm curious. I kind of went over it a little bit, but maybe you didn't catch it, or maybe you don't know how that looks like typed out. So I also didn't go over the last one. So put it in the chat what you think this is going to return. And take your time. This is definitely a new skill, and I know it takes time. So take your time. We are in no rush. And let me know if you need hints or help. Hey, great question, Cutie. So we use three single quotes, not to ignore something, but to use comments. So this is kind of maybe not the best, like, straightforward use of comments. Typically, comments are used to add to code to make code more clear. In this case, we're commenting out the code, which just means that I'm using comments to temporarily render this code like invisible to the terminal, so the computer won't be able to run it. But I still want to keep this code just so like we can use it for our reference purposes and so that you can look back on it later. I'm just using the single quotes to make sure that the computer doesn't see it, because otherwise our output, like this stuff here, is going to be crazy long because we're printing something like every line. And that way we would have to like scroll to find what we wanted. So that's why we're doing that. 789, you are correct. It is the length of the text, but Jenny got it on the nose. Yes, it's going to be capital Python, capital P, and 6. You got it, Jenny. 10 out of 10. Jenny is correct, and that is exactly what we got. So thank you for following along, Jenny. Thank you for that engagement. Love that. So you can also incorporate these methods into what we've been doing. So let's say we want input from our user. So I'm going to comment this out again. I'm being a little trigger happy with the comments, but it's just because I'm like tired of scrolling through output to find what I want. So you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just like can't handle it anymore. I've had too much in my terminal recently. So to get the user input, we literally just type in the word input and what we want to be displayed to our user. So we're going to ask our user, what's your name? And then we're going to print out and we're going to do welcome. And then we're going to put a comma here because we want to do like welcome comma and then their name. And then we're going to do comma for their actual variable. And we're going to do name, but here we're going to do upper. And the reason for this is because we've got like welcome in all caps. So we don't want to just put their name in lowercase. We want to make them feel super welcome. So we're going to do all uppercase. And let's run that. And so it's asking me what's my name. And I spelled my name wrong. I'm going to put my name in, and boom, it's got the output and it has my name in all caps because it used that upper method. So you can combine them into the same line. It always works. And also this like input is very, very intuitive. Again, Python is like the English language basically, because you want input from the user. Perfect, just use the input method. So it works great. But actually I think it's the input function. Yeah, sorry. If you see something structured like this, getting the parameters within the parentheses, that's going to be a function. And then if you use dot notation, that's going to be a method. Just clarifying that difference. And something else to like stretch your capabilities even further beyond just input, you can also ask for swapping letters. So let's say, like our normal greeting, or we'll just do greeting. Our greeting that we usually tell people is hello world. That's usually what you say to someone that's like starting their new first programming language. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to swap out those letters. So I'm going to do greeting dot. So since we're using dot here, it's a method. We're going to use replace. So it's going to replace whatever you put in the first parameter with the second parameter. So here I'm going to put L, and I'm going to replace that with, let's say, an asterisk. So the replace method gets every single instance of this letter, this character, string, in the original variable, and it replaces it with this. So let's see what that looks like. So it looks like it's been censored, but we just took the L's out and replaced them with asterisks. So that's what that is. We are just taking out the L's and replacing them. So just like some fun functions that we can use. Strings are super interesting. In all languages, you'll see that like strings are genuinely one of the most interesting and interactive data types because you can do a lot of things with them, and you can do a lot of different, I guess, native functions that you would think of when you're like trying to do something. You can do them within programming languages with strings, which is cool. So now we're going to move on like formally to user input and basic output. Like I know we covered this a little bit earlier, but we can do that now as well. Do. Ooh, good question. How to replace multiple letters with different characters. So let's find that out together. So when you hover over a method, it'll tell you what that method is and how it takes different parameters. So you'll see it says method, def, replace, and it takes the parentheses, takes old literal string, new literal string, and it decreases the count. So if the optional argument count is given, only the first count occurrences. I'm not actually sure you can do multiple letters. Let's search that up. So in Python, can you replace multiple characters? I don't think you can in the same line. Yeah, you can't. You would have to do multiple replace calls. There's also a couple of different methods, like you could use the transform method, but that's like a little too complex for this intro stream. But yeah, you can't natively do that, but if you wanted to do multiple things, you could just you could like reset greeting. You could do like greeting equal to this, and then you could call this again so that you could do print, and then just do that again. So let's say you want to replace the O's with an exclamation point. Boom, there you go. So you would just have to do multiple like chain replace calls like that. There's no like native way. More like setting up a full function before you run. Yes. I'm not really sure what that means. Sorry, it's like kind of late and I'm like, my brain's not functioning as good as it should be, but I don't know what that means. But yes, you'd have to call the function multiple times before you run to get that to work. Okay, good. Hopefully you understood. Yeah, great. Glad to answer that. So formally going on to user input and basic output. So we can use input to ask the user something. So you saw this earlier, but let's do a fun example, like an even more fun example, because all these are fun examples. So I'm going to do food, because food is always fun. And let's ask the user, what's your favorite food? And while I'm typing this and getting this running, put a question in the chat for what you would like to see get answered on the terminal and what you want to get input from the user from. Appropriate responses and questions only, but something that you're curious about. I will respond truthfully. So if it's like you're curious about like what my favorite place is, like what my favorite food is, what my favorite MLH event is, something like that, put that question in the chat and then I'll ask and I'll code that out. So for this, for what's your favorite food, I'm going to print that and I'm going to do like, wow, yum. I like, and then I'm going to do comma, food, and then I'm going to do two. Really showing solidarity with that person. So what's your favorite food? I honestly don't have a favorite food. No, that's a lie. I like noodles a lot. So let me go and put that in. I love noodles. Wow, yum. I like noodles too. What a friendly terminal. I love my terminal. So now we can also like write something a little bit more complex too. So let's say we also want to, I'm going to start my comments here because I'm tired of this output. I'm going to do name and we're going to do input. And again, we're going to do, what's your name? And then we're going to ask them for their color, ask them for their favorite color. Do input, favorite color, favorite color, and then hobby. That's one hobby. Yeah. So get to know this person a little bit more. The terminal's really curious. So we're going to do hi, and we're going to add in our name, and then we're going to do a plus sign. So this time, instead of comma, so you'll see here that we did comma, in between the variable and the text. But for this one, we're going to do plus because we're adding multiple variables and multiple text pieces. So it's more intuitive to do plus for concatenation purposes. So I'm going to do hi name, exclamation point, I like, and then we're going to do comma, add in that color, and then I'm going to put in 2. So I'm going to say, let's go, and then put in your hobby, and I'll put in a plus here, and then we're going to use sometime. Boom. So let's try that. So asking my name, again, I'm going to put in my name. My favorite color is green. Favorite, what is one hobby you love? I love playing. So, okay, I know it's like my one hobby that I love, playing guitar, but like to fit this sentence structure, I'm gonna put play guitar. So it says, hi, I like this color too. Let's go play guitar sometime. So that's great. Complex logic is definitely possible and easy. So that's a fun little way that we can go about that. Yeah, let me know if y'all have any questions that you want to see up on the screen. If not, no worries. I'll wait like maybe 30 seconds. And also just for like a quick clarification, I know I'm like using the comma and the plus sign interchangeably. So the difference is if you use the comma in the print, it's going to separate multiple items. So like I was saying, it adds that space automatically. You don't need all the items to be the same type. You could like mix strings and numbers, and it's just easy. But if you're using the plus sign, it's going to concatenate or like join multiple strings. So if something isn't a string, you're going to have to convert it using the str function, and no space is added. So you'll have to add in a space if you want that. So it's always just easier to use comma, but sometimes people like using concatenation. So that worked out for us. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm just going to move on. I get it. Y'all are probably super tired, so no worries. We're going to move on to if statements and logic. So we can make decisions in our code, and we use if statements to control kind of like what happens when. So we can add some input and we can make some like really fun like decision-based program. So let's do that. Like an example of if statements. So let's do age again, and let's say we're going to convert this to an int, and we're going to ask the user for their input. We're going to ask them, we're going to go, how old are you? And the reason why we have this int here is because this is our int class, and basically what this does is it converts whatever the input is, which is a string, to an integer, so that we can use that integer and compare it to other integers instead of having like a string, and you'd be like a little confused about those comparisons. So here we're going to do age greater than or equal to 18. By the way, this is how operators work in Python. It's the same. It's like greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or just equal to. And if you've got like an if statement, you need to do a colon after to indicate that you're going to add something else. So I'm going to print, I'm going to be like, you're an adult. You can vote. Because that's usually what you do once you turn 18. You have the privilege to vote. And then I'm going to do else, and I'll add that colon again, and I'm going to do print. I'll be like, oh, like, boo-hoo. You're a minor. You can't vote. Because minors can't vote. So let's try that. So ask me how old I am. Let's say I'm 98. It says, boom, you're an adult. You can vote. Let's run it again. How old are you? Let's say I'm 10. Oh, it says, boo-hoo, you're a minor. You can't vote. So this is an example of how it can handle complex logic and complex decisions as well, just within like a couple of lines of code, which is kind of why I like Python so much. It's super easy, super intuitive, and it can make complex things very easy. Hello, Supreme. Nice to see that you're joining us from Ghana. Let's see what time it is in Ghana. hilarious. 3:09 a.m. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hopefully you're in a different part of Ghana where it's not that late. But thank you for joining us at 3:09 a.m. I appreciate the dedication and love that you took the time to join us. We started a little bit earlier, but if you don't have VS Code and Python downloaded, let me get the tiny URL. Make sure you go to this document. It's got really detailed instructions for how to download Python and VS Code. And then just follow along with what we're doing so far. I've been explaining it. And if something's confusing, you might have to go back and watch an earlier part of the video for it to make sense. But if it's still confusing you, just ask it in the chat and I'm more than happy to help answer that question for you. So I'm going to remove that now. Hopefully you got that document, but let me know if you need something. Nice to see you here though. So yeah, that's something we can do too. And just for like a fun little additional input, let's say color input, and we're going to ask the user like, what's your favorite color? I know I'm like using the same fields over and over again. It's just because like color, age, name is like very basic and very understandable. So it's just easier to do. But so here we're basically just going to be shaming the person if their favorite color is not green. Because green is the best color and I will not be persuaded otherwise. So if their favorite color is not green, we're gonna be like, oh, sure, that's a great choice too, very sarcastically. I love other colors, but green is superior. And if you see this dot lower method that I use, the reason why I did this is because your user can type green like however they want, like with capital, all uppercase, lowercase. So if you do dot lower, you can standardize your input and just make sure that it's green every time. So you can see like even if I put like all green, that obviously doesn't match all lowercase green, but it still is able to respond because I'm standardizing the input to do dot lower. So that's a little bit about if statements and logic. Just a quick intro into that. A lot of different things that we can do. Let me actually go back and comment out the code. I think I deleted it. Not really sure why I did that. Okay, honestly, that doesn't matter. And now it's not working. Okay, it's just gone. I deleted that. Sorry, y'all. That's not going to show up on my code. If you need that, let me know. And so since we're talking about like logic, we're going to talk about while loops. So this is like repeating things the smart way. So while loops are going to run while something is true, but make sure and be very careful that you are updating the variable that you're looping through, because otherwise you're going to have an infinite loop and you're going to have some problems. So here's an example. So let's do something where we're setting our count equal to 1. And we're going to say while a count is less than or equal to 5, again, using that colon, we're going to print. What is wrong? Why are you unhappy? Expect an expression. You do have an expression. Oh, it's because I need the variable. Oops. So we have while count is less than or equal to 5. We're going to print, and we're going to tell the user, we're going to be like, hey, by the way, here's the count. The count is, and since we're using a comma here, we don't need that extra space. We do that. And now we're going to increment. So here's a fun little hack. If you wanted to do this, count equals count plus 1, you don't have to make it this like long. You just do plus equals 1. So it makes it shorter, but it's the exact same thing. It's just like a quick little hack. Hello, Cyber. This is the course or their individual interest for whoever is interested in this specific topic. So I'm not sure if you're talking about this specific stream or the other streams that I've run. I've just been running a lot of intro streams this Global Hack Week because we have a lot of people joining us for season launch. So I wanted to build a lot of skills over this week. So I've been doing individual intros for whoever's interested in this topic. This is like not really a course. It's more of like a workshop / stream. Oh yeah. Global Hack Week is just made up of a lot of different streams. A lot of people, typically MLH coaches like me, will run streams on topics that we're interested in or want to teach the MLH community about. So I've just been doing a lot of intro streams. This one's just intro to Python. yeah, and I have a next one coming up tomorrow, and that's going to be like Gen AI dev tools. It's not like an intro; it's more complicated, which is why you don't really see the intro title. But everything else I've run has been intro. So okay, yeah, glad that cleared that up. So going back to the while loops, so we're incrementing that variable, and that's exactly what we're going to need to exit that loop. So we play it, and boom, it gives us the counts. That's great. That's an example of a while loop. And we can also do like another fun little code just to show you that it's not like completely useless. Like you can also use while loops for worthwhile activity. So let's say we're doing a password checker. And let's say we'll do like while password is not equal to. So here's another operator, not equal to. So this like exclamation point usually means not in programming. We do not equals, and let's say our password is Python123 because we're super basic. Because a lot of people's passwords are 123. We're going to do password input, and we're going to ask the user enter the password. Well, we're not going to ask the user. We're telling the user to enter the password. And then we're going to print access oriented. So let's try that. So we're going to enter in a password. Let me say I'm going to do like Python. I'm just going to do Python. So now it just keeps asking me to enter the password if I don't get it exactly right. So let me do Python123, and boom, it says access granted. So fun little password checker. Obviously, that's not how password checkers work in real life. They're a bit more complicated than that. They won't just show like the password, but just a fun little application there. Yes, of course, no worries. Let me know if you have any more questions about GHW, and there's always people on the Discord just like waiting and itching to answer your questions. So go over to that Ask GHW channel if you have any questions that you've got. So yeah, that's a little bit about loops, repeating while loops. And then we've got for loops, and for loops are super duper interesting, but while loops we mainly use like because we don't know how many times we want to loop. Like for example, the password checker, like you don't know how many tries it's going to take for that user to remember their password, so we use a while loop. But let's say we know how many times that we're going to be iterating through something. That's when you would use a for loop. So let's go over that really quick. So for a for loop, typically the like I guess industry standard typical thing we do is like use I for a counter in a loop. It just is something people do. It's just easier than putting like counter or something like that. It's just easy. I got an error for that indentation error with the indent block after while statement on line 86. Oh yeah, so it's probably because you didn't indent this line properly. If you back all these up to the same line, just hit a tab and it should be working. You just need to have that block of space. You need like an indented block. Otherwise that code won't run properly. Hopefully that helped. Yes, of course. Let me know if you're still having problems. How do you stop a while loop in Python? Yes, glad you asked. So this is like the condition that keeps the while loop running. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm sharing this code. And once this is not true anymore, you break out of the while loop. So you can see that here, like I kept guessing wrong passwords. So it just iterates. So basically what it does is like I enter in Python, right? We run this code, says while password is not equal. So password doesn't even have a value right now. So we ask the user for the input. We say enter the password. User enters in Python. That's not equal to Python123. So we ask the user again, and we keep going until finally we get to Python123. And now the password is equal to 123. So since that's true, we break out of the loop and we go over to prints access granted. So it's just whenever the while loop condition stops being true. And when it turns false, you exit the while loop. Hopefully that helped. Let me know if you need further clarification. But yeah, so we're starting our for loop, and for each I in the range of 5, we're just going to print. So we're going to say the loop number is, and we're going to add in our variable. So you got that here. So this range function or get range class Basically what it does is it iterates through the numbers from 0 all the way to this number minus 1. So that's usually how indexing and things like that work in programming languages. It's always minus 1. It's not like exactly. So you won't be able to get to 5. It's just in the range of 0 to 4. It always subtracts 1. So that's a quick little session about loops. And then we can also loop through lists. So let's say we make a list of colors, and we're going to do the primary colors. We'll do red, we'll do green, and then we'll do blue. So we can say, here we're doing for color in colors. So again, we can use I here, but I'm choosing to use color just because it's more intuitive, like for each color in colors. And I'm going to do print I like, and then we'll do our comma and color. And now it iterates through each element in that list too. So that works, and that's great. So different ways that you can use for loops. For loops are super useful if you know how many times you want to iterate. And like even if you don't explicitly know the number, like if you know you want to iterate through all the elements in a specific list, you just use a for loop. Again, you can also use a while loop, like it really doesn't matter. You can use like while the length of this array is like not 0, and then you decrement each time you iterate through the list. So you can do both. Can we use anything name apart from I? Yeah, there's a couple of Python naming conventions, but you're probably not going to run into those errors. If you do, it'll tell you like name can't be named to this error or something like that. Yes, glad I could help. What is the difference between a for loop and a while loop? Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. So a for loop should be used when you know how many times you're going to be iterating through something, and a while loop should be used when you don't. So for the first example, like with the password checker, we used the while loop because we didn't know how many times it was going to take the user to get the question right. But with the second like program, challenge, whatever, we knew that we were only going to loop 5 like in the range of 0 to 4. And then also like we knew that we just wanted to loop through colors. So you use for loops when you know how many times you're going to loop through something, and you use while loops when you don't. Again, you can kind of use them interchangeably. Most problems that you have, you can find a way to use for loops and while loops for both of them, but typically it's good coding practice to keep them within that same structure. Coming from a JavaScript background, it's all I have to say is what happened to brackets. Yeah, it's a little confusing coming from JavaScript to Python, but hopefully you're seeing it's a little bit easier too. Like there's no semicolons. You don't have to do like the public static main void, like stupid line that you have to write. Class names aren't a thing, like that big of a thing. But yeah, the brackets, it is confusing. Hopefully it's getting a little bit less confusing as we're going on though. So back to the slides, that was a little bit about for loops. Now we're going to cover functions. So functions are basically just reusable blocks of code. They make your program super organized and clean. That's kind of been like a motif throughout this workshop. We want to make sure that our code is organized and clean. So Java has some, oh my God, not Java. Python has some built-in functions that we can use, but there are also some, damn, I just deleted the VS Code. Let me go back. But there are also some functions that we can create. And we're going to create some functions to show you that you can do it. So okay, I got VS Code back up. Yay. So now we're going to make a function. Let's say we're going to call it greet. We want to greet our user. So to create a function, you're going to do def. That's the keyword. It's going to turn blue if you're in dark mode. And you're going to do the function name. I'm calling it greet. And then you need these 2 parentheses. That's what defines a method. A function. And then you're going to use that colon. And then you're just going to put your code in below. So I'm going to do print hider. That's my greet. That's my definition greet. And it's not going to run anything if you notice, because we just made the function. We didn't actually do anything. We're not using that function anywhere. So to actually call that, we're going to have to add parameters just for fun. So you can use this as is, but I want to make it a little bit more usable. So let's say we're adding in a name variable, and I'm going to say hi there, and I'm going to do comma name, comma, and then I'll add an exclamation point. So here we can do like greet. Let me use some of your names that I see in chat. Supreme789, and Jenny. So I'll do Supreme. Seven, eight, nine, and Jenny. And boom, there you go. It says hi there, and it's got your usernames in there, which is super duper cool. But yeah, that's a way that you can use functions. If you want to call a function, like call meaning use it, you just use the function name, and then in parentheses you pass in whatever variable you want to use, like whatever object you want to use for that variable. But yeah, that's basically what a function is. And you can use a lot of different functions for various different things. And yes, Suyash, you are correct. Python is really awesome. I actually started off like my programming journey learning Java, and I was like, oh my god, Java's so hard. Like there's so many like nuances. I keep forgetting my semicolons. Like I'm losing it. I like my file names aren't working. Things are confusing me. And then I started learning Python, and I was like, wow. So like this life was here all along. I was very bitter. So yeah, Python's very chill compared to other programming languages. Cough, cough, Java. But yeah. And also like we can make our function more interactive too. So let's say we want to do like a function, and we're gonna call it favorite. We're gonna pass in food. I'm gonna print I could eat. And we're gonna pass in that food variable all day. And now we're gonna call that with noodles, because I love noodles. And boom, it says I could eat noodles all day. So just like that, you can also do like complicated print statements within functions as well. You can honestly do that everywhere. Okay. Yeah, so now that we've learned most of the basics of Python, we're going to move on to building like our mini project. And it's good. We've got about 30 minutes left, so hopefully that means we've got time for a couple mini projects. Let me see which one I'm more interested in. Actually, I'll just ask y'all. So I wrote code for 2 different mini games. So back to the slides. We're building a mini project. So I want to know, do y'all want to build a Mad Libs game, or do you want to build a speed typing game, like type speed testing game? If like you don't know what Mad Libs is, it's basically just where you put in a bunch of like words, so like adjectives, places, names, and it like spins up this crazy story, like a mad story, using the input that you gave it. And then Type Racer is just like seeing how fast you can type and what your words per minute speed is. So you've got 2 options. If you want the Mad Libs game, put a 1 in the chat, and if you want the Type Racer game, put a 2 in the chat. We might have time to get to both, but depending on how many questions we have and how long it takes to get through the project, we might only do 1. So I want to see which one y'all prefer. I see some comments. I'm curious what people in industry use Python for. Yeah, hopefully you were there for the beginning when I was talking about why Python was super useful, but no worries, I can recover that really quick. Python's used like everywhere. We use it in web development. So like if you use Instagram, Python is used in Instagram's backend. It's in data analysis, like data science. Like Spotify uses it in their data analysis. Like AI and machine learning, like ChatGPT uses Python. Like games, finance, robotics, like Python is used very, very often. And like at big companies like Google, NASA, Netflix, like I'm just name dropping at this point, but like there are very many uses for Python. I love pav bhaji. It's 10 out of 10. I actually haven't had pav bhaji in a while. Maybe I'll go out and eat some at some point. Okay, I'm seeing some responses. 1, 2, Mad Libs, which is gonna be 1, 1. Okay, I think I'm seeing more ones. I counted 1, 2, 3 ones. So Yash, it looks like you got outvoted. I'm sorry, but hopefully we get time for Type Racer. Python may be replaced by Carbon. Maybe, but I like Python. I was here, but I came from a creative writing background, and I'm trying to think how I could use it when making e-literature. Yeah, Python's not going to like make e-literature for you. That's more of like generative artificial intelligence. That's what a lot of people use for like generating prompts and things like that. But Python can help format your e-literature and like help you like more programming side. Programming is a little bit different from artificial intelligence and like generation, but Python's definitely useful. So it looks like I'm getting more interest for the Mad Libs. So I'm gonna go ahead and start coding the Mad Libs game, but like totally no worries, we might be able to get to Type Racer. So I'm gonna comment out all this code. We've got to a lot of different examples, so y'all have been doing pretty good. Hopefully you've been following along with me and your file looks just as long as mine, and you can look back upon this file to get any examples of anything that you need at any point. So we're going to build our Mad Libs game. And again, Mad Libs is just like a fun fill in the blank word game. We're going to ask the user for a couple of inputs, like an adjective, a name, or a place, and then we're going to plug them into a story. So I'm just going to go through it like how I've written the code. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions or you're like, why does that work? How does that work? Feel free to ask me, but it's building upon the skills that we've been using. So we're going to start off our code and we're going to do print statement to the user. And we're going to tell the user, let's play Mad Libs, because that's what we're going to do. And we've got to let our user know that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's play Mad Libs. There you go. And so we're going to ask the user for a couple of inputs. First, we'll ask them for a name. And we're going to tell them enter a name. Because we're going to ask them for a name. And we want them to put that name in so that we can put it in a crazy story. Then we're going to do animal. So we're going to do like enter an animal. We'll ask the user for whatever animal they want to do. And then we'll do place. So input, and then we're going to do enter a place. Like place, location. And also feel free to customize this Mad Lib as you want. I'm just putting like what I'm interested in and a couple of fields that I think are cool. But if there's something else that you're like dying to know from the user, let me know and I can add that in, or just feel free to do it on your end. Yeah, okay. And then we're going to do a verb. So I'm going to ask the user for a verb. I'm going to say input, say enter a verb ending in ing, just to make sure that our user is giving us the correct format, because otherwise they might enter the wrong form of the word. And then we'll say adjective. So we'll say input and we'll ask them enter an adjective. So those are all the inputs I'm going to use, but y'all feel free to add some more inputs and potentially give me suggestions. If there's something that you want to see in this Mad Lib story, let me know and I'll add it in for y'all. So then we're going to add in a print. This is just an empty line so that we have a break in between our Let's Play Mad Libs and our actual like Mad Libs generation, like generation of the Mad Libs section. So adding in an empty line here, we tell the user, here's your story. I shouldn't do that isolation now. Yeah, it's your story. And so I'm just going to start adding in some fun stuff. So So another way that you can add in input is you can also use F. So this is like a kind of like native thing in Python. So instead of like doing the comma and the plus to combine variables with text, you can just do F, and then you can do one day. And now that you're done with your text, because it's just going to be one big string, you can use these curly braces to add in the variable names. And now you can just type like normal. You don't have to separate with like a comma and the quotes. You can just type like normal. So this is kind of the point of Mad Libs. You're using whatever they give you to like put it in like a fun little combination. So in my quote there, oops. That's why it was turning blue. I was like, why is it turning blue? Like, it shouldn't be doing that. That's why. And then I'm going to print, it was the woohoo. So that's our like super basic Mad Libs version. So let's try that out, and hopefully y'all are trying it out with me. If you are, feel free to put whatever you output in the chat. I'd love to hear your crazy Mad Lib stories. So I'm gonna try mine, and I'm gonna put that my name is Bob. Oh shoot, it did not enter an animal. That's on me. Okay, let's play Mad Libs. Enter a name, and also I kind of want a extra line here too, so let me put that in there. Bruh. Try it one more time. Okay, let's play Mad Lib. Boom, there's my extra line. Love that. So my name is Bob. Animal, dog. Place, let's do France. Ending in running. Running. Or ending in ing, sorry. Adjective, happy. Here's your story. One day, Bob was running with a happy dog in France. It was the best day ever. Fun Mad Lib. Let me know if y'all get some fun outputs that you'd like to share. But in the meantime, let's make this Mad Lib a little bit more exciting. Like right now, it's just kind of like it's not a plain Mad Lib, but you know, it could be more inspired. So let's add some fun things to it. So instead of let's play Mad Libs, let's say welcome. We'll make it even more fun. We'll say like welcome to the great adventure of Mad Libs to get the user more excited. So now let's also like give them some more informations and like hype them up, excite them. So let's do like you'll be or we will ask you for a couple of words to generate your wild, crazy story. And now let's tell the user, let's begin. We're going to get started with their wild and crazy story. Ooh, I see some comments. Ooh, so you manually generate the story. Yes. So unless you're using artificial intelligence, like generative artificial intelligence, which by the way, if you're interested in, you should come to my Gen AI stream tomorrow. Shameless plug, actually, let me get the season schedule up because I think that session is very interesting. It's like one of the favorite sessions that I run. So shameless plug, y'all should come to my Gen AI dev session. Boop. There is the registration links for that. Sign up for that if you're interested in Gen AI. But yes, Supreme Overload, you are correct. We are manually generating the story. It's not like actually, no, this is what Mad Libs is, because like Mad Libs used to be like a piece of paper and like it would be like a fill in the blank type thing. So like the story was already generated and like written. You would just put in random words. Oh, Jenny, thank you for the story. One day, Juniper was fossicking with a fluffy pterodactyl in Las Vegas. It was the best day ever. That's a great story. I didn't know that pterodactyls could be fluffy, and I didn't know they were in Las Vegas, but that's funny. I like that. Thank you. There's a registration link again if y'all need it. But thank you for that story, Jenny. And if any of y'all else want to share, feel free. Also feel free to share once we get this more creative story going, because I think the output from this is going to be great. So again, we're going to add in that empty line. I'm going to keep that. We're going to keep the name and we're going to keep the adjective and all of this. But instead of just one adjective, I'm going to do adjective 1, and then I'm going to do adjective 2 because I want multiple adjectives. Why restrict yourself to 1 when you can have 2? So I'm going to do enter an adjective, and then here I'm going to do enter another adjective to make the user be like, oh, okay, I'll do another one. I'm going to keep it one animal, one place, but I do want 2 verbs. Again, this is like totally subjective, so feel free to customize this story as you wish. Totally up to you. It really doesn't matter to me. I just doing what I want. There's no rhyme or reason to this. So I'm going to do enter, and then here I'm going to enter another verb. Then we've got food. Actually, we don't have food. Should I add food? Yeah, let's add food. Food, and then we're going to input. We're going to ask the user, enter your favorite food. Boom, there you go. And now I'm going to ask the user for an object. So I'll ask the user, enter a random object. Then I'll ask them for a number because I haven't done that yet, and I've been using number a lot. So I'll do enter a random number. So we're not going to like link it to age or anything. We're just going to ask them for a number. And then, ooh, I think it'd be funny to ask for like a sound. Appropriate sounds, obviously, but enter a funny but appropriate. No, I'm not typing all that. Obviously, it's going to be appropriate. Enter a funny sound. EX. We'll do like boing or meow. Someone said meow on my earlier stream. I'm not really sure what the context was. I think I was asking for an emoji, and they sent me like they just sent meow, and I was like, oh, okay. Thank you for the engagement. And so those are all the inputs I'm going to ask the user from. I don't see any suggestions from y'all, so I'm going to assume that you're happy with that, or you're just building your own deeply twisted Mad Lib story. So I'm going to add in like a fun little like list of twist endings. So we can randomly pick a twist ending. So it's not just going to be like pouring Mad Lib. It changes every time depending on what is picked. So I'm going to actually just do this, and I'm going to create a new twist ending on each line. So I'm going to be like, and that's how they accidentally became mayor of the town. Again, I'm like spitballing here, so if you have anything better, please let me know. To this day, no one knows what happened to the chicken or the egg. They woke up and were relieved. It was all just a dream. I'm putting in like fun little twist endings just to like add a little bit of oomph to the story. Be like, and then they all danced under the stars with noodles for hands. And then we can do like suddenly the ground shook a turtle. And okay, so just very silly endings to add some element of surprise and randomness to the Mad Lib. So that's also another way that you can make a list. That you can have the open curly brace, the closed curly brace, and then on each line you have your new element within the list. Again, Python is very lax, so it really doesn't care how you structure things. So you can do it just like this, and there's no problem with it. So yeah, those are our twist endings for now. And now we're gonna build out the story, the actual like big story. So we're gonna delete all this because now we've got a fancy story. And again, I'm gonna use that F, so that way I don't have to like do a plus and a comma and like all this nonsense. I just do F and I do once upon a time. In the mysterious land of, and then we're going to put the place name in. Let's say there lived a, we're going to use the first adjective here. Adventure named, and then we're going to name, period. And so that's going to be our first line. Then I'm going to print another line. And just for like clarity's sake, I'm going to put enter so that, okay, I don't think it liked that. Oh, yeah, I did not like that. Okay, that's fine. And then our next sentence is going to be one sunny morning, this person, name, set out on a journey with a backpack full of object one and a stomach full of food, whatever food item the user puts. Also, just a heads up, I will be asking y'all for this specific Mad Lib to give me suggestions for the input. So like for the food, object name, name of the person, name of the adventure, I will be expecting some input. So get your minds ready, get excited because we are going to be using y'all's inputs in this Mad Lib and we're going to create a MLH specific MLH special Mad Lib. So get ready to type those inputs in the chat. I will be waiting. So that's our second line. And then I'm going to do while walking through the forest, so this a group of people encountered, or this person, our adventurer, they encountered a group of, and we're going to use our second adjective here to describe our animal. And then we're going to do all, and we verb one. We're going to say all blank, so like running, moving, in perfect rhythm. Okay, and then we're going to get our fourth sentence up. So we do F, and I'm going to use these brackets for like a bold effect. And then I'm going to put in sound dot upper because we want the sound to be like screamed. That's why I'm using upper. We'll use our exclamation point to add emphasis. And then we're going to enter bracket and then end our parenthesis. Doesn't like that. What's wrong? But it was closed. Okay, I honestly don't really care that much. So we're just going to keep this as is. Oh, why does it keep saying that? Oh, it's because I didn't close. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'm just going to do sound dot upper. I'm going to do like an exclamation point. Oh, I think it's because I have to start with a parent or quote. So let me do that. So I'm going to say one of them, and then I'll put in my sound dot upper yelled. Oh, I don't want to end the quote. Yelled. Oh, I want to put that here. Oh no. Where'd it go? Oh. They're going to yell that noise, and it's going to startle our adventurer, our poor adventurer with the name. And so they dropped there, and we'll put in object name. So object one. Yes, Jenny, this will be recorded. All of our streams at Global Hack Week are recorded and put on the YouTube channel. Let me get that link for you. This is the link to the YouTube channel. And if you click on the tab that says live, it'll have all our videos. Like actually you can watch my video on YouTube right now. It's being live streamed. And 789 is correct. Yes, you can always access it on the MLH YouTube channel. Okay, yeah, they dropped their object. Oh no. And then we're just going to add a random twist ending. So we're going to do print F, and we're going to do a random option, space N, and we're going to put in our bracket for our variable, random.choice, and twist endings. Okay, so let me explain this line really quick before I move on. So random.choice, random is a class, like a package that we can import into Java or into Python, which is why I've got this import random statement. And then I used random.choice. So you can see random is a module, choice is a function of the random module, and it basically just chooses something random from this element, which is our list of all these random twist endings. So it'll just print one of these random twist endings. And then after we're done with that twist ending, we're going to tell the user, thanks for playing libs with us. So that's just like our fun little end to our Mad Libs. And we're going to get started on that input soon. So let me scroll up to the input section. Okay, so I want inputs from all of y'all about this. So I'm going to wait for 2 minutes, and I'm going to wait for the inputs to start rolling in. And if you don't send me an input, I'm going to fill it in by myself, but I want y'all to send those to me. So whatever you want. And then also send me the output that your VS Code generated. So run it, play along with your Mad Libs, and tell me what story you created. So I'll wait for that input, wait for y'all to send me that, and also your potential, what is it called? Your potential stories. Ooh, I see a question. Oh, can we please see the bottom of the code? Yes. Let me scroll back down, sorry. Here, let me zoom out because it's, appearance. It's kind of, there you go. Now it'll show you the whole code. You don't have to copy it exactly, but Just there as an example. Thank you for your question, Supreme Overlord. Is Python interpreted or compiled? And also, is it object-oriented? Great question. So Python is an interpreted language. When you run Python code, it's going to be gone through line by line by that interpreter. You're not going to like compile it like C or C++ at a time. And Python is object-oriented. Everything in Python is an object, like even the numbers and integers that you have, as well as functions. And you can like define classes, like we saw with the like earlier class that we used. You can create objects, and like you can use inheritance, polymorphism, like all the more object-oriented programming concepts. Hopefully that answered your question. Damn, y'all, send me some input. I'm waiting for y'all. I'll wait until 1 more minute. Or here, I'll run the 30-second timer. Actually, I'm not doing that because that covers the whole screen. Oh, 789. Appreciate you. Okay, we're gonna get started with this input. If any of y'all else want to send inputs, please feel free. Oh, please go up a little. Yes, I got you. I'm gonna zoom out one more because I think somebody else wanted it. The below. There you go. Hopefully that helps all of y'all that still need the code. Funny. Okay, so we're going to use this for our input. So let's start playing the game. So I'm gonna hit play. Actually, let me delete it and let's start from scratch. So play. So welcome to the Gary Adventure Mad Libs. We will ask you for a couple words to generate your wild, crazy story. Let's begin. So the name you wanted was Michael Lion. Okay. Oh no, just Michael. Michael. Lion. Enter a place, New York. Verb is going to be playing, gaming. Looks like you like games. Happy, interesting, interest. Okay, since nobody else responded, I'm going to autofill. So obviously, you know me, I'm going to do noodles. Bottle, 9. I like meow. Oh my god, I can't see it. No. Okay. Meow. Oh no! Oops. Okay, we're gonna try that again because I accidentally used a variable name that was not correct. Let's try that again. Michael, Lion, New York. I forgot. I think it was playing and gaming. Oh, 79's got some more for us. Okay, playing and gaming. Playing, gaming. Happy, interesting. Happy, interesting. Ooh, jollof rice. That is really good. I haven't had jollof rice in like 2 months. It's a really good food. Ball is the object. Number 7. Okay. I'm just gonna pre-fill the rest of the stuff. Meow. Oh my god. Dog, it's not that deep. Oh yeah. That's on me. You can't random choice a list. So you're going to need to use a list instead of a set. That's on me. I used the wrong brackets. So I use brackets here. That makes it a set, but I want to make it a list. So I'm going to use the like braces. Ugh, guys, sorry. Let me try it again. Hopefully we can run without any errors this time. Michael, Lion, New York. Playing, gaming. Ooh, happy, interesting. Jollof rice. Oh, I forgot the number. 7. Meow. Yay! It worked. Okay. hopefully y'all are done with the code. I'm gonna push it up. So here's our story. Once upon a time, in the mysterious land of New York, there lived a happy adventurer named Michael. One sunny morning, Michael set out on a journey with a backpack full of ball and a stomach full of jollof rice. While walking through the forest, they encountered a group of interesting lions, all playing in perfect rhythm. One of them yelled meow, startling Michael, and they dropped their ball. And that's how they accidentally became mayor of the town. To this day, no one knows what happened to the chicken or the egg. They woke and were leaped, and it just picks everything. Okay. Thanks for playing Mad Libs with us. Ooh, okay. I see somebody with their output. Very great. Let me push down my output and pull and focus on yours. Once upon a time, in the mysterious land of Saturn, there lived an exasperated adventurer named Junior. One sunny morning, Junior set out on a journey with a backpack full of python and a stomach full of lasagna. While walking through the forest, they encountered a group of fraudulent dolphins. Wow, I didn't know dolphins could be fraudulent, all galloping in perfect rhythm. I really like that story. And yes, 789, that is funny. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing. That is really funny. So we're kind of reaching the end of our session. So just to recap, y'all learned a lot in this session and you did great. You hung out for a really long time, so thank you. You learned how to print to the screen, how to go through variables and data types, if statements and loops, for loops and while loops, functions, how to get user input and logic, and you built a real program. Y'all were able to get that story out, and that is a real program, and you built that, so you did great. And for as next steps, there's a lot of different free places that you can keep learning. So you can go to w3schools.com/Python. W3 Schools is a really great resource to learn Python. It's like really great for beginner-friendly tutorials. So feel free to check that out. There's a lot of other resources online. Literally just search up like Python resources learning. And you find a lot of stuff online. But that is the end of the session. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Before you go, don't log off yet. I'm going to send y'all a feedback link that is really, really important to us. We know that y'all are spending a lot of times at these streams, and we want to make sure that we are getting the most value to you out of these streams. The only way we can do that is improving upon feedback. So let me go and try to. I don't know why Discord isn't loading. I swear I do this every time. At this point, I should just copy and paste the link somewhere. Damn. I don't know why it's not loading. If anyone has the feedback link, that would be great. For some reason, Discord is not working for me. Yay! Thank you so much, Jenny, for liking this session. Oh, I'm glad that you're looking forward to watching the AI session on YouTube. That is lovely. Dog, I wish I could find this feedback link. I feel like it should just be feedback. No, that sounds right, but I don't know why it's just not showing up. Let me search it up on my phone to see if I can find that URL. Sorry, y'all. I know I'm keeping you over. I just want to get to the feedback link. Don't know where it is. Okay. Well, maybe I just can't find it. Thank you. Glad that you think this session was great. I really enjoyed running this session with y'all. Let me. I really want to get this feedback link. Because I think y'all like this session, and I want to know what your feedback on it was. If I can find it, if they would be so kind as to give me that link. God, I'm literally copying it in the future. I can't do this again. Feedback. There it is. Guys, I finally found it. Sorry, that was embarrassing. I should definitely have it open in the future. Oh, okay, so it's GHW feedback. That's what was wrong. That is the feedback link. Please fill out the feedback link whenever y'all get the time, preferably right now because it's how the session went is fresh in your mind. And let me know what you think, what you thought about this session, what you think about Global Hack Week. And I'll use this to improve on future sessions. And on the topic of future sessions, we've got the add authentication to your app in 5 minutes with Civic Auth. That stream is coming up on July 7th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. ET, so about 12 hours from now. So that is the end of the presentation. Thank you all so much for hanging out and for listening to me during this stream. I'll stick around for a couple of minutes for any questions that y'all might have, but that's it. So thank you for joining, and feel free to hop off. Have a good night if it's late for you, or have a good day if it's early. So I'll stay on till 11:06, 2 more minutes to see if anyone has any questions, but play some music for fun. But feel free to hop off. Thank you for joining. Thank you, engineers in the wild. Of course, glad you enjoyed it. Okay, it's 11:06. I'm gonna hop off now. I'm gonna go sleep because I'm really tired. But if y'all have any questions, at me in the Discord. My tag is literally just like Vaishni from MLH. You'll see me. You'll have my MLH icon on the Discord. So feel free to at me if you have any questions. But thank you all so much for a great stream. And I hope you have a great day. Bye. Thank you for logging in.